learners. Our lesson today is about petroleum and natural gas. The objective of this lesson is to recognize that petroleum and natural gas are energy resources, describe the fractional distillation of crude oil, recognize the physical properties of several petroleum components during fractional distillation, identify petroleum cracking, differentiate between cracking and distillation. Let's start. Petroleum and natural gas are hydrocarbon mixtures. As we studied before, hydrocarbon means it contains hydrogen and carbon. So petroleum and natural gas are hydrocarbon mixtures. Petroleum contains crude oil. Crude oil means it's viscous oil, an oily mixture of flammable organic compound. Things that we get it from petroleum are gasoline, jet fuel, kerosene, diesel fuel, and fuel oil. Natural resources. Natural resources is something found in nature that people can use to meet their needs. For example, of different origin of natural resources as minerals, living organism, organic fossils. Also, it can also come from source of energy like solar, wind, nuclear. These are the natural resources. We have two types. We have renewable energy and we have non-renewable energy. The non-renewable energy are the fossil fuel and the natural gas, the coal, and the nuclear. At normal temperature and pressure, the components of petroleum are gaseous state, liquid state, and solid state. And gaseous state, we have methane and propane. In gaseous state, we have methane and propane. Methane and propane has low number of carbon. In liquid state, we have hexane, heptane, and octane. Hexane, which is carbon number 6, heptane, which is carbon number 7, octane, which is carbon number 8, and benzene. It's not mentioned to know the molecular formula of benzene. In solid state, it is paraffin and asphalt. Now, what is refining? Refining is the physical process and chemical process of transforming crude oil into various products. Physical process, which is fractional distillation, chemical process, which is cracking. Now we're going to talk about these two. Petroleum is subjected to refining by fractional distillation and cracking. The first one, fractional distillation, which is physical process, it's separate here. Just notice here at this picture, it separates the components of mixture made of several miscible liquids. We have here several liquids and several miscible liquids. And we have, if you notice here, we have different temperature. At the top of this fractional distillation, we have low temperature. At the bottom of this distillation, we have high temperature, which is 340 degrees. So at the top, we have small molecules, low boiling point. At the bottom, we have large molecules, high boiling point. At the top, we have the refinery gases. As we said before in the previous slide, gaseous state, which is methane and propane, are found at the top of the fractional distillation, while the heavy materials, heavy products are found at the bottom of this distillation. This apparatus, we call it fractional distillation column or fractional distillation tower. Both are correct and both they ask you about these two names. So at the top we have the bottled gases. At 70 degrees we have petrol for cars. We have the naphtha, we have kerosene, we have the diesel, and we have fuel oil, and we have for roads, oil for roads and roofing. So if you notice here, there is different types of different temperature. At the top we have 20 degrees, at the bottom we have 340 degrees. So as we increase it, as we go up from the bottom to the top, so the temperature is decreasing. And if we go from top till the bottom, the temperature is increasing. You have to notice this one. And if you just go up, let's see the other picture here. We have, this is the same one, but in this one, I mentioned here the number of carbon for each one of them. At the top of the fractional distillation, we have lower number of carbon, which is carbon number 1 till carbon number 4, while at the bottom, which is found the heavy product, is greater than carbon 79. So at the number of carbon increases here, as the number of carbon increases, temperature increases. As the number of carbon decreases, temperature decreases. Part B, which is cracking. Cracking, which is the second part of refining of petroleum.
Cracking is a chemical process which breaks down long hydrocarbon into smaller molecules.
Here we have, this is an example of long hydrocarbon. Long hydrocarbon, which is an alkane and which is saturated. Let's count the number of carbon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, which is heptane, which is saturated and long hydrocarbon. This heptane, it will break down into 2 hydrocarbons. The first one, which is an alkene, the second one, which is an alkane. The first one, alkene, which is ethene, has 2 number of carbons, while the alkane, which is pentane, which is an alkane. If you count here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we have 5 number of carbons. If you add number 5 number of carbon plus 2 number of carbon, it will give us 7 number of carbon, which is heptane. The second example, which is decane. Decane, it has 10 number of carbon. This decane will break down into alkene and alkane. Alkene, which is propene, has 3 number of carbons, and heptane, which is 7 number of carbon. If you add heptane, which is 7, plus propene, which is 3, the result will be 10 number of carbon, which is decane. This is the whole lesson is about. It's about cracking, it's about fractional distillation, it's about the natural resources and the definition of petroleum. I hope you will understand it, and please solve the homework after watching the video, and I'm ready for all your questions.